Welcome to Iron Sights Podcast. This is the After Dark format. And I'm so pumped up to be here because this is going to be the first kind of kickoff essentially to this new format that I want to run where I get to hook up with my friends and other interesting guests. But tonight, I got the Cook brothers.
You got them.
I got Jordan and Calloway cooking the house. Boys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. Thank you so much. If you could pick one person or two people that could talk to a brick wall, that's why you picked us. You got it.
I'm not gonna lie, there's always been strategy in how I put this thing together, and just kind of stepping back a little bit. When I first started it, first off, really important for me to try to master the craft. If I was gonna do this, I was gonna try and do it right. So I researched, I talked to a lot of people. I'm really fortunate to have some amazing friends, right, and connections in the business. And so I reached out to people and said, hey, what do I need to know? What are the mistakes I'm going to make right off the bat? What do I already need to prepare for? And I got so much advice, right? And it's just like anything else. But immediately I was like, well, I want the best kind of people in here, right? Like the pros, because they're going to help me be better. They're going to maybe even carry the show because I'm going to suck, right? in the beginning of this. And so I did that, and man, did I learn a ton. Yeah. And so today in this new format, I'm like, who are the guys that I can bring in here that can make me look good, that can carry the conversation, that can help me not suck?
You got the wrong guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, pal.
So a couple things about this, man. First off, I appreciate you guys coming down.
Yeah.
It's always good to connect with you guys. And part of this connection, the last time I got to connect with you guys, interesting, was with the producers of this show. My team from Arizona.
Oh yeah,
the Wilco
cigars and drinks. That was your birthday.
Yeah,
that was a good time.
And it came up then. We were already talking about this After Dark format, and it suggested dude, you should have those guys on. These guys are because we had such a great time.
Yeah,
we sat around. We could,
they were great people.
We could talk for hours. So
absolutely,
it's finally gotten here.
Yeah, no, this place is amazing, man. I saw you setting it up, and I'm just watching your whole deal on Instagram as things go and as it progresses, and this is legit.
Yeah.
I was so pumped when you asked us to come on. Yeah. So pumped on it. So
I'm so pumped like I said, I'm pumped to have you guys, and I appreciate that. The whole thing was about having an experience, and it was for that. It's that for me too, right? Yeah. I want this to be experienced because I don't get out much, and so whenever I get a chance to get people in here and share some wisdom and some laughs, and some conversation, I'm just overly grateful. So, and in this particular situation, we've got a couple of new things we're bringing to the table. So for those of you watching, we have a completely different sort of feel in here today. It's a little bit more of a man cave in here today than it has been.
Yeah.
So bringing it to the mood, but we've also brought a little extra element to the show. And one of which is we're gonna share some adult beverages today.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm here for it. Yeah.
You guys have permission. I have permission to do this.
Yeah. We talked to our mom. We're good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
So interesting. So I came equipped, but knowing, apparently I actually didn't even tell them that. So I get the text about 10 minutes before, like, hey, we're drinking on this thing, right? And
I always bring my tequila when I can bring my tequila. Man.
Well, I've learned that. So what did you bring us tonight, man? What are we drinking?
So this is Reserva de la Familia. It's an extra añejo. And it's super, super good. It's smooth. First time that I learned about tequila, because I've never been a tequila guy, because you think tequila and you think college parties,
right,
blacking out.
Cuervo, right?
Yeah. Throwing up, that's tequila to me. Right. And so we went to Mexico a few years back, and they ended up bringing this bottle to us for some reason. We were like, oh, we'd like to try your best tequila. So they bring this one out, and they bring it out, and it tasted like sweet tea that whole day to me, kind of. And I was like, all right, well, I miss Mexico. I'm going to buy this when I get home. And then shortly after, I realized that I never got hangovers when I drink it. I don't mix it with anything, and I feel good. I'm not a huge drinker, but when I drink tequila. And so I wanted to share it with you. And
It's good. It's smooth. And I'm not a tequila drinker, but it's smooth.
Okay,
it's a different experience.
So neither am I, but the way Jordan just described it right there.
Makes you want to drink the whole bottle.
Fountain of youth.
So once it gets aged, let's do it. Once it gets aged, it's
all right.
It's good.
So I'll get to pouring here. And let's just go through a little background on you guys, because so for the audience that's listening, these guys are bros, right? And I've known that obviously for a long time, but I don't know some of the details behind that. So Jordan, you're the older bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
By how much older?
4 years. Yeah, we're 4 years apart.
Okay, so that's not very far apart, but there's enough of a gap there for each of you to see one another in different situations.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't start getting super close until late, like teens for me, early
Yeah.
20s maybe, because it's such a different age gap. Like if
Yeah.
I'm 16, he's 20, you know, I'm just started to drive, he's with his college friends, and it was like, you know, you don't want your little brother hanging around all the time. So we had our differences.
I can relate. My younger brother's, well, I have one brother, he's younger, he's 5 years younger than I am. And I can tell you, like at 15 years old, I had zero in common with the 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when we were younger, 5 and 10, we figured it out. You know, we go out and have a game of catch, or, we're playing
Right.
G.I. Joes or riding our bikes together.
Yeah.
He was still my younger brother.
Yeah.
And I was still awful to him, and he was a little punk ass at the same time. But as we got older, it was interesting. Yeah, there was a gap there for a while. I mean, from 10 to, when he was in high school, I was same. Like I was moved on. So, when he's 16, I was 21.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot in common.
Of course.
But around those years, as he got older, and particularly as he got closer to graduation and got on, right, became more of an adult, we did become very tight and have been very, very tight since.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I can relate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This guy's my best friend.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, like I don't know if I'd even still be out here if he hadn't come a few years back. Like for a while, we lived together. We worked together freaking 14, 15 hours a day. We went out on the weekends together. I mean, we did everything together.
Just conjoined to him.
Yeah. We even got the same t-shirt,
Same shoes, same hat. We do everything together.
It sounds a little bit like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I mean, we can relate, but and he got his own place. So
you guys are not living together
Not
anymore?
No,
anymore.
so about a month ago, I got my own place.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's
spreading his wings.
I separated from the mom of the nest.
Well, I want to talk about that, but first, cheers, guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
absolutely.
Coming down,
Cheers.
man.
Let me know what you think.
Yeah, see how you like it.
We will give this a whirl. Here we go.
Holy
Smooth.
moly.
Oh, you are right.
It's smooth.
You're
It's
welcome.
smooth.
So, and it's a sipper, but it sneaks up on you a little bit. It's smooth, and I can drink it all day.
Save
Save it for the nighttime.
I approve. This is fantastic. Thank you for bringing this down.
Of course.
Yeah, not sponsored.
Yeah.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah. We got people knocking on the door, I'm sure, but
So one of the other additives to this particular episode is I got one of my other right hand guys. We mentioned the Wilco team who helps produce this thing. We could not do this without them. They are instrumental and just an amazing group of people out there.
great guys.
Yeah, and they have this amazing supporting staff. They work so hard for us, and we've developed a really tight relationship. But one of the other things we've been able to put together to help develop the podcast more and help me be better and growing this thing is my boy Mikey D'Amico over here, who's sitting behind the mixer.
Yeah,
Man.
Mikey, say hi to the crew.
Howdy.
yeah. Mikey.
Yeah. So many good things happening tonight. And we're just mentioning growing your wings and kind of jumping out of the nest.
Yeah.
Let's pause for a second and go back because you guys you're not from here.
From Cali, no.
Right?
Yeah.
And that became very apparent to me when I first met you guys, and I didn't know that. And there's a little bit of a drawl there. We can talk a little bit about that. But you guys are originally from Georgia.
Yeah. From Georgia. Yeah. Born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's a completely different place on the earth. I mean, we're talking you're on the opposite side of you're on the right coast, as they call it, and you're in the South. And I want to know what it was like kind of growing up in Georgia. Where were you guys? Because if I remember correct, it was pretty rural.
Yeah, so we were North Georgia. So we're about, if you see Atlanta, you go about an hour 20 north. We're up in the mountains.
Yeah,
so it's
Blue Ridge Mountains.
Blue Ridge Mountains, yeah. So we grew up with a town with what, like
1,200
people total.
Dude,
Wow.
tiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that is small.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
So in a town of 1,200 people, like, are you going to a high school in that
Yeah.
town? Or you have to
One
get on
high
a
school.
bus and get out of
Dude,
town?
Yeah.
our high school looked like a
Like a
well, I
prison.
guess people don't really know
Like
what
a prison.
chicken houses look like
Yeah.
around here.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like it looked like a chicken house, a 2-story chicken house. It was just this long building with just 2 hallways. That
Yeah.
was all it was. And yeah, I mean, we have like maybe all together.
It was about 400 or 500.
Oh, that sounds a little
It was
out
small.
of balance.
It was small.
That's a lot. That might have been
that
like
sounds
you
like
had-
out of balance. That sounds too much.
Well, how many? Well, was this just high school or was it elementary and
no,
junior
this
high?
is
this
just
is
high
just
school.
high
There had to
school.
be maybe
Less,
200,
you'd say?
200, but that still seems disproportional. I don't know. Our numbers
tiny.
are weird. You Google it says 1,200, whatever. But it was tiny, man. Yeah, it was. We grew up in like the town that was like football was king. The stores closed down early on Friday nights. You know, it was just like Mayberry from Andy Griffith.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody's business.
Everybody.
You can't walk out your front door without somebody.
Yeah, you do one thing, it's out in 2 seconds. Like
it was hard for
stay
Cal.
inside.
Really hard for Cal.
So give me an example. So what was the one thing that you did that you'd wish you hadn't done that got around town in 2 seconds?
I've got a story.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple stories. You go ahead and share.
All right, so
we're here for it.
So this is just, this is my past. We're kids every now and then, and I had we had a Friday night football game. Won't mention the others involved, and will not mention the police officer involved. So
I like where this is going, John.
every single Friday night after a football game, we'd either go to Waffle House and eat.
Waffle House.
I love this story already.
And then we would meet up in the Walmart parking lot.
Football, Waffle House, and the Walmart. You can stop right there.
Yeah, I mean, this was the plan,
And
then you end up at Waffle House again, later in the night. But so you're in the Walmart parking lot. People come, they meet, and you talk, you hang out, then you figure out whose house you're going to, and you have your party, win or lose. And so, anyways, this one night, this was when I had hound dogs, and we would do raccoon hunting. And so you would train your dogs to run down raccoons. And
my brother had a red bone coon hound.
I had 2 red bones. Yeah. All right, people are gonna think I'm such a redneck. Yeah. Promise I'm not. I was just
Where the Red Fern Grows. If you've ever seen
Where the Red Fern Grows,
which is an awful, depressing movie.
Terrible.
Like it'll rip your heart out. It'll make you cry.
It's
Grown
tough.
man, you will. If you don't cry, then you're not a human. Watching that movie. But yeah, red bone coon hound. So you got your dogs.
Absolutely. So I had my dogs, and like throughout like middle school into high school, like I was training these dogs. I wake up at 4:30 every morning. I'm feeding them. I'm getting them out, playing with them, And so we go out, and me and my buddy and 2 other girls, we went out, and we're driving up 282 where we've got our dogs, and we're going to coon hunt.
Y'all know where 282 is, don't you?
Yeah,
it's
282.
Just up there past
the trees and the grass.
Sorry, I'm trying to tell this story being like cognizant of not using. So anyway, so we get out there, and we have a 30-pack of beer in the car, because 30-pack was the only thing you could buy when you were 17. You don't get 6-packs.
Yeah.
So anyways, we go to the little gas station down the street, we get our beer, we're going up, and of course, I'm cool. Hey, I'm gonna pop one, on the way up. Not drunk. I hadn't even had a beer yet, but I'm gonna pop one and have it in my container, in my I don't know if this is gonna be a good thing to keep on here, but anyways, so literally not maybe 5 minutes after I opened it, and the girls are in the back sipping on their beer, and my buddy's in his passenger seat sipping on his beer. Blue lights.
Oh boy.
All right. And this just gives you an idea of how our town is. So we get pulled over. He looks up. What's going on, Cook? I'm like, hey man.
Such a small town.
I'm terrified, right? They're like, oh man, Cole's.
You did it.
Yeah. And anyways, you played a good game, buddy.
We'll bleep that part
all
out.
this stuff. Yeah. You played a good game. No. And he looks in there and goes, oh, you boys are into some trouble, huh? Right. And we're like, man, I'm sorry. We haven't been drinking. We just like popped it up, and we were going to go out there and just kind of, we're hunting. So he literally just says, well, don't worry. He was like, we'll get you escorted up. He calls another car, drives my truck home, puts us in the back seat, takes us to the house, and says, y'all have a good night, and just left it be. But that's the little things that like in a small town that like you can do and get away with. And like, it's special.
Oh yeah.
Those are memories, but that's it's definitely a story. This is the first one that came to mind, man.
Look, man.
I don't know if this was like the right
It was
one.
a good small town story to show you how small the town it was. Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I asked for. But I again, like getting back to small towns and just kind of the stories.
Yeah.
You mentioned the high school with however many people.
Yeah.
That is so foreign to so many people.
Yeah.
Right? Like most of America doesn't recognize that most of America is much like what you just described outside of the metropolitan areas. Everybody knows, your neighbor's name, your neighbor's dog's name.
It's special.
And
It is.
and sometimes when you get pulled over with the open containers in your car as juveniles that shouldn't be drinking anyway, you'll actually get taken home by the police department and not
Come to find out, it might even be your cousin that's the police officer.
You might be married to him.
So, I mean, were there any ones that didn't end that well?
Yeah.
Cal's been arrested. I've always been a think aheader.
He's been the smart thinker.
I live in the future, man. I think they call that anxiety.
Cal, what kind of trouble did you get yourself into, brother?
Let's hear it.
Well, so I was at I was in Atlanta. I was in Kennesaw, Georgia. And then again, we won't mention any names or anything like that, but
Well, hopefully.
it was yeah, it'll come out. It was like a first date kind of thing for me. I had somebody that I just met, we were going to go to dinner first, and I ended up going to somebody's apartment. They had a little St. Patrick's Day party. And I went there, and it was like shoulder to shoulder, doors wide open. We're all,
It's a
underage.
party.
It's a party,
It's a party.
So we were going to stop by, say hey to old friends, and we ended up, having a few. And then heard that cops were coming. So I was, okay. And we're not terrible people. This is past. We didn't always get in trouble with the law. But I grabbed my best friend and the girl I was talking to, and we start walking down the hallway, and officer comes upstairs and, oh, you go back up there. Oh, absolutely. And so we turn around, and then we start running for the next stairwell, trying to go. Because I was a golfer back in the day, and I didn't want to get in trouble with
A
that.
stud, by the way.
Golfer?
Yeah, I used to golf for a hot minute.
75, 78. Consistent.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, yeah.
And,
No, really good.
And so I was nervous about that because I was trying to get a scholarship with that. And I was like, I can't jeopardize that just from some silly night. So anyways, long story short, the person I was with, me being, thinking I'm this macho, I'm like, yeah, you're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. I'm going to get you out of it, and she was the first one handcuffed. And
Oh, boy.
then and then we all went to jail. It was the drunk tank. I spent like a night in there. It was from like 11 o'clock at night to 2 p.m.
You better be glad you called mom.
Well, that's
Okay, so that's the next part of
So
this.
what happens there is we all get one phone call. That's it. One phone call. They say yes or no. If they say no, you're in there until they're ready to give you another phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, my mom, being the amazing, genuine sweetheart that she is, I call her. I was like, hey, Mom. And I was like, can you bail me out of jail? And she goes, Jordan? I was like, nope.
Wait,
she thought it was Jordan at first.
Dude,
for some reason.
I was an angel child.
Yeah. And so she goes, of course. And she comes and bails me out. And my dad didn't talk to me for the whole day.
Oh, yeah. Dad would have left him in there and asked how long he could stay.
Yeah, he's the guy that'll sit there and be like, you hang out in the pasture, you're gonna get manured on.
Yeah, he's like, you're going to get manure on you,
That's so
Yeah,
appropriate.
so he was like, you better be lucky you didn't call me because I would have kept you in there for a while. He was like, so good call on your behalf. But,
So, interesting. So, I mean, I as a minor I never ran into any trouble like that,
Yeah.
but I also it's interesting. The common thread
Yeah.
here is the drinking.
Yeah.
I
That
never
was
had a
huge.
drink until I was about 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
Reasonable.
So,
yeah.
and part of it was, you mentioned the sports thing and whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
for me, I was very academic to a certain extent.
Mhm.
I learned kind of later in my high school career, that I was a little disinterested. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
I found out how unimportant that stuff actually is in
Right.
terms of the things you need to learn in life. I got some
Yeah.
lessons kind of early that are that really stuck with me. But point of that is going back to the football.
Yeah.
I was an athlete, like you guys, and I didn't want to let the team down or my teammates down, but more importantly, my parents down. The
Yeah.
last thing I would have wanted, both my parents would have come down and bailed me out of jail. So I'm just gonna make that clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have come down, but I know I would have just disappointed
Regretted
the
it,
shit out
yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
And it would have disappointed other people in my life that were counting on me. And at that time, football was life, wrestling was life,
Yeah.
right? Track and field was life. So I never did that. Well, you recognize when you get out of high school, if you don't do it in high school, I think you try to make up.
You go
Of
hard.
course.
You go
in
hard.
Yeah.
college.
Well, I
yeah.
did some really
Yeah.
stupid
And
shit.
it's even worse.
Yeah, I
almost.
did some stupid
Yeah.
shit. But the going back to the small town stuff, you kind of go and you kind of get away from it, and then you may run into some people in your journey there that kind of
Yeah.
look out for you. And I don't know if that happened for you, Callaway, but it definitely happened for you, Jordan, where
Yeah.
somebody looked out for you, and it could have
Went
been
the other direction and changed my life. right?
totally
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So versus living in a big city or wherever else, you're just another number, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're just some
It's the
random.
truth, man.
Yeah.
You're
And-
going through the system no matter how.
And by
it
the
is.
way, we do not condone drinking and
Oh,
driving
absolutely not. Yeah.
or opening a beer in the car or anything. All right. So these are lessons learned.
Oh yeah.
I got you. Only tequila at the Ironsides table.
But only
Mexico.
2 for the night. Only 2.
I love the self-control.
Yeah.
So you guys grow up in a small town, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow you made it out, Jordan, to California.
10 years ago. Yeah.
How'd you get out here, man?
Dude, it was super, I'm so fortunate, really. I think because, and as time has gone, because, my life has changed so much just in that 10 years since I've been here. But life presents so many different opportunities all the time, and so, you take one road and it leads you to another, and it's just, snowball effect, snowball effect, snowball effect. Right. So for me, like when I was 19, I was valet parking in Atlanta, and I was doing school kind of, but I was more always a worker. Like I wanted to work. I wanted to make as much money as I could. Valet parking was like,
those beers are expensive.
Hey man, we lived off Busch Light.
Oh my God. That was my thing, is like, I always wanted to just make money, and so I started out, I was valet parking, and I was going to school, and then I took more hours at work because I was like, man, I could really make some money valet parking, and slowed down on school a little bit. My mind wasn't focused. And so anyways, so my uncle lived out here. He had moved out here probably 10 years prior. My uncle is, he was a VP at Apple. He was a VP at TiVo. He's now a VP at Compass. The guy's just an overachiever. He's an author. He wrote Computers for Dummies books. Like, the guy's just a genius. Okay. He calls me and he's like, hey man, what you got going on in Georgia? And, I'd never been to California. He visited once a year. Like, we never got to see him. And he just randomly calls me. He's like, I'd love to have you come visit and just kind of check out where I'm at. He goes, I think that you'd like it, and this and this and that. And he was like, just come check it out. So I booked a flight the next day, and I jumped on a flight like within the next week. Came out here. I loved it. I was like, this is so cool. It was so new.
Oh, well, it's not 1,400 people. And
it was so different, right? I mean, and so I was just so intrigued, and I was like, well, I'm super unattached. I'm not like I was going to community college, I'm not attached. I've got all of this, here that I could easily just leave and start over. I'm young. So I get there, and he says, all right, well, you come here, you live with me for 6 months. That's the timeline though. He goes, you start school. That's another piece that I require. He was like, and you can get a job and, get on your feet after 6 months. And if you can't get a job, can't get your own place by that time, then you move back home. If you can, then good for you,
I love it. The expectations are clear, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's very important. I've learned that in my life, dealing with other people, not him.
Yeah.
Not him.
No, I'd say
people.
I'd say he's the root though that helped us out with all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my uncle got me out here. I literally I came back, I made the decision. I left within a month, told my family bye, moved across the country.
Was that tough?
Dude, it was, at that time, it was more exciting. And you don't realize.
You don't realize what you're leaving.
You don't realize what you're leaving. You really don't, because one thing I've learned is like, family is your home. No matter where your family is, that's where home is, period. And so I think I miss my family so much. I feel that, I'm very grateful for my situation. I'm very grateful for my business. I'm very grateful for him being out here. Like, I don't know if I'd be okay without him out here. At least a piece, we're the closest out of anybody. But you kind of realize, like, you're sacrificing, like, okay, I'm over here for business. You start to put it into perspective. I'm going on a tangent because I do that. But you start to put that, like, man, I'm out here because I'm chasing this idea of success. I'm chasing this idea of growing a business, and I'm stuck here. But like, what really matters?
What are you really gaining?
Right? What really matters? And it's like, one thing that really shifted my perspective is when my grandmother passed away a few years ago. I was like, dude, I've been out here doing this when I could have been spending time over here, right? And so those types of thoughts go through my head all the time, right? Like, family. I either need to visit more, or I need to figure out how to make this happen and get back over there to them. But very long story short, moved out here, got going, was working at the mall because valet doesn't pay out here like it did out in Atlanta. And I was working at the mall, and then I got a job as a trainer at 24. Somehow I hacked that system and was just selling for all the trainers there. So I was making a pretty good living there.
That's a common tale, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like, that's what you always hear, like start out at a commercial gym and then, go from there. But yeah, then, that 6-month mark hit, I moved out, got my own place, and about a year after that kind of started the business, and it's been history ever since.
It's crazy. You get some opportunity, right? You take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And still crazy to me. And I've just had this last week, and this last week for me and some of the people I've come in contact was just recently on a trip. Had a really good, cool opportunity. I was down actually in Southern California for basically a firearms event, a shooting event.
I saw you
over 2 days. Yeah, it was fantastic. I get to connect with my buddies, and we're out there doing some different stuff and just learning, and the community is so strong. Just really rewarding experience. You just see people come together and everybody's just trying to kind of try to be better. A bunch of American patriots out there, which I really appreciate too, but there's no ego, no agenda outside of just kind of getting better. And while I'm down there, I get to go through this great experience. And then coming out the other side, I was in Southern California. I'd spent a lot of time there. I still have a lot of friends down there and a lot of connections. And many of them, from what took me down there, which was the fitness industry, right?
Yeah.
And particularly, I mean, if we're just kind of breaking it real down, it wasn't just fitness, it was training, right? It was coaching.
Right.
And I'm just kind of relating your story to the opportunities that, and kind of where that's evolved, and or maybe I'm, peel back the layers, some of the layers of learning what you guys are doing, but the opportunity that coaching gives you.
Yeah.
Right. And the people that have taken advantage of it and what they've been able to gain from that. And this goes deep because again, I connected with a couple buddies down there. We were actually a little podcast, or some episodes will be coming up.
Yeah.
And what they've been able to do with their life, where they came from. And almost all of us had very similar stories.
Right.
The most of the successful people in the fitness business that I know, particularly in that come from the coaching end of things, not necessarily gym ownership or, kind of the operations side of things.
Right.
They were on a path of unclarity. Like, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing right now, but they found this thing that they're really passionate about. Yeah. And then they found out they were really good at it.
Yeah.
Then they found out they could make a lot of fucking money doing it.
Right.
While helping people and feeling good and feeling like they're providing a service to people.
Yeah.
And all of them at the end of the day, and again, these guys I connected with, and you guys will hear about them, when we drop these eps, the passion that they have for just being better and helping people be better. And it came from the gym. It came from helping people. And I mean, you guys are creating a legacy now with your business, but I just find it so fascinating. And then obviously those people tend to connect with other like-minded people. And here we are sitting with very similar stories. I mean, I was on a path too, where I thought I had it, where I thought I was doing the right things. And I realized, like, this is not making me happy. This is not where I want to spend my time. And I made the shift into, really just kind of going all in with fitness. And again, here we are. There's obviously a lot that's happened, but again, just the setup for kind of what brought you guys together, because all right, you're brothers and it makes sense that you'd want to reconnect, but you come out here when you're 19, you're 14 or 15 at the time. So you're not coming out anytime soon. You're not in the fitness business yet. Fitness ends up connecting you guys in the end. So Callaway, you're left at home to your own devices. Yeah. I don't even think I want to know what was going on at home without Big Brother there.
That was a blast.
Yeah. I'm sure mom.
No, it was.
I'm sure mom was like, sad to see you go. She's like, yeah, maybe he needs to have Big Brother take care of him for a while.
Favorite kid was out of the house.
Right.
Had to do, had to do with this one left.
What I've already heard about your dad, I'm sure Dad was like, you better get your shit together.
Pack your bags, bud.
So. But you were also in the fitness business right away, right?
I was in the fitness. So Jordan actually got me into it because before, like I said, I was a little bitty skinny golfer boy and just did that for, all throughout middle school. And
jump into just how skinny you were. This man became a man.
Oh yeah, he is.
It was random. It was overnight. I was, it started off as, middle school, elementary school skateboarder kid. I think, what it was? I did everything that he did do, I did opposite.
Yeah.
Because he wanted me to be like him so much growing up.
I did.
And he was like, bro, like,
you need to play football. You need to play basketball.
you know, you need
baseball.
to, oh no, like
So
for
you were just rebelling.
well, I'm just sitting here, but like, I actually like to do it too. I wasn't just doing it out of like that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it was that. And he was like, bro, you need to be wearing Abercrombie and Fitch, you know, polos into school and not, you know, skater shirts.
Your big brother's telling you how to dress?
Bro, he had long hair and baggy
I was like
pants
the
and
skater
skateboarding
kid
shoes.
growing up. And
Holy shit.
so anyways, yeah, fast forward, basically,
Trauma.
you know, yeah, trauma. No, he got me into fitness, and because I was just tired. I was always the, you know, shortest. I was short too. I was like 5'4", 5'3", you know, for my age group too. It was short, you know. And so I was always the skinniest of my friend group, and like, you know, any girlfriend that I had was bigger than me. So that was always like oh man, like I'd like to, you know, be a little bit bigger, you know, be nice. So he got me into it.
I mean, that's a thing for like, there's always it's really rough to be a teenager, right? Just in general, right?
Yeah.
Growing up. And then there's a lot of social pressure. There's a lot of things going on.
Totally.
You know, I've had my own experiences with girls, right? And, you know, growing up, you know, having girlfriends or being around girls. I don't have sisters. I don't have a lot of, you know, younger females in my extended family or whatever else, but I have daughters, you know, and a stepdaughter. And like, I know what that's like, you know, to watch as a dad, females go through some body image issues and self-confidence issues, and how mean kids can be, particularly girls. They're savages, they're vicious.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't talk about how tough it is to be
I don't think
be a
that
young man growing up.
I was never like insecure about it. I don't think I was ever, until maybe I got like a little bit older, and I was like, man, like I would have played football if I would have been, you know,
a little bigger.
So then it started making me think like, man, I need to start
You
doing
think
something.
of things differently.
Yeah. And then I found fitness, and, you know, he put me through a lot of stuff, and then I just went with it. So I've always, you know, I worked for gyms all growing up, front desk, wiping down equipment, cleaning bathrooms of gyms.
I
I did
story.
everything. Yeah.
So you know what it's like.
Yeah. So I've been everywhere with it. And then I, you know, managed LA Fitness for about 3 years in Georgia. And that's when, around the time when I was talking to Jordan, I was like, you know, I've always wanted to go to California. I've been, before he even moved out here, I visited I was the first one to, I think, visit. Yeah. And I loved it. And I was like, you know, being from Georgia, California is like the dreamland. Like if you go to California, you're famous. You made it. You know, that's like what you think.
Oh, it's so funny,
dude, all of our friends think we're famous. Even though
we
we're
come
not.
back. We come back from California, and they're just like, hey, so like, meet Brad Pitt. You know, are you like friends with Brad Pitt?
Oh man, I know that story well. I actually had, for a period of time when I was working in the industry for Bally, I was basically a regional director, and I had everything from Texas over to Florida.
Oh, nice.
Up into Georgia. So I spent quite a bit of time in the Atlanta area, and, you know, kind of greater Atlanta area, and it's big. Yeah. Like it's spread out through there. It's spread out through there. But the point of that was like I'd travel to these areas, like, and people would find out I'd be from California, and I was like, oh, dude, you're from Cali?
Sick. Yeah.
Does everybody wear tank tops and surfboards on their car? I was like, what in the? No.
Yeah.
That's not what it's like. But I get it. Like, it's like, oh, you get to, that was kind of the dream. Everyone wants to be here. So I get that.
And so that was basically it. And I managed LA Fitness for about 3-4 years. And then, you know, I talked to Jordan. I was like, look, man, like there's a lot of room if you're like in the Atlanta area. I mean, there's still no ceilings, but I think there's a lot more opportunity, especially if you have the opportunity to get out to California.
There's just so much more money here.
There's so much more money.
Yeah.
It's opportunity. Yeah.
And I love paying, you know, out of my ass for rent.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
That's also fun. But
he's got a cool story of how he got here and what happened.
Well, no, yeah, it was from LA Fitness, and I told Jordan, I was like, once you get so full, and that was the game plan of when he could not do any more, then I'll move out, because I would love to come to California and like completely start a new life. And, you know, there was a lot of stuff in Georgia that was happening. I was just like, you know what, I'm ready to get my life going and like start this new chapter. And what better to be able to go to California and like completely do what I want to do, whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
And so transferred from LA Fitness to City Sports out here.
Which is the same company.
It's like a sister company.
So did they pay the?
It's just a different name. They changed because they didn't want to say LA because of the
Bay
Niners
Area.
fans and stuff.
Oh no, I get it. I understand all of that.
Yeah.
Like, because they were a competitor in Southern California before they came here.
So
but
there's like multiple.
The question is did they transfer you? Did they pay for a relocation for you? So because it's the same.
It was actually
They
smooth.
should have.
So it was very, very smooth. I was really close to my VP's district and regional in Georgia. Had a really good connection or relationship with them. And I just told him one day, I was like, look, like I really enjoy what I do. Cause I was, you know, general manager of sales. So I was just doing membership sales and all that stuff. And I was like, I really enjoy the company and I want to get out to California because I have a lot of opportunity out there. And they literally just made a phone call to one of the VPs out here and made it happen.
Again, such opportunity in the fitness game if you play your cards right.
Yeah.
You know, everybody kind of wants it now, but what I heard you say was you were cleaning toilets and equipment and working front desk and, you know, and all that. You worked your way up and then you were able to use that to your advantage to achieve the things that you want to achieve by transferring all the way across the country.
Yeah.
And so you come out here and you work for them for a while, but that's not the plan.
Well, no. So the plan was obviously
home.
I was so close, but
Bro.
this is
Were you
where,
homesick?
Oh my gosh.
I think I got homesick. I miss family a lot. I miss my niece and nephew, my friends. I mean, I think it hit 6 months in because right when I moved out here, this man got me on prep. So, you know, I was
all into bodybuilding.
Oh, I know you were
bro.
jacked.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look at me now. Though.
Scott says you were jacked.
I was back in the day.
I used to lift weights too.
Yeah.
I used to like starve myself and lift weights.
Well, no, I'm sitting here and I'm in the transition of moving from City Sports. I just got one new client with Paragon Body, you know, and I'm like stoked about it. I'm doing my own thing, kind of leaving City Sports on break to train a client and coming back.
Okay, making the transition.
And then, so I get on prep and I'm just miserable for 3 months. And I'm talking
he got so shredded though.
I was
Good
like
job, bro.
3% body fat.
So we're right back to you need to play football.
Yeah,
You need to
exactly
do
right.
this.
It was
You
just
need to do this.
ongoing. But
I
I mostly did it because he was competing. So he was competing in June, and this was February, March.
I gave him a Gunther's cookie for his birthday.
It was March. It was So it was March, and so
If you've been to San Jose, like Gunther's
is the move. It's the move.
Totally.
Best chocolate chip. 8 seconds in the microwave, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But no, so I'm sitting here and you know, I go through prep and it was morning cardio at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. It was work a 9-hour shift, have a workout, and then post cardio at night, and then right back to bed. And so at this point, I also had the same opportunity. I got to live with my uncle for a couple of months. So that's all I did.
Yeah,
So
we don't have that cool story of like, came out here with 25 cents in my pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
So I did that whole thing. And keep a long story short, you know, I didn't meet anybody other than outside or inside of LA or City Sports.
Right.
So it was like my employees that I had, friends from there, and that was it. So I think it was just like, I was like, what am I doing? Did I move out here too soon?
It's lonely.
It was a little lonely, and I never had that problem because, I mean, I guess I did because I've always surrounded myself with people. I love being around people.
Always more social than I am.
Yeah, I just love to be around people. So I was at my uncle's house, and he was at work. I'd be home, and I'd be like, what do I do? I don't know anybody really. Like, I didn't have problems making friends, but like I didn't have anybody
Wasn't
super
a lot of
close yet.
opportunity,
Yeah, and like I met a lot of acquaintances and stuff along the way. But I think the cool story is when I made the transition. This is around the time he broke his leg, and he was coming from.
So he's out.
He's out, man.
And he needs somebody to cover his
Yeah,
clients,
and
so
it
the
was-
business doesn't fall apart.
Exactly. Yeah. So
And I was like, it was only me at that time.
yeah,
It was the perfect time for that to happen, for him to be here.
yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
crashed my motorcycle off a cliff, call him next day. Literally, bro,
It was from one client to 50
50 something a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I threw him to the wolves. Like that was the first thing on my mind. Like I'm like sitting here at the bottom of this hill off of Mount Hamilton, and I call him and I'm like, hey bro, can you feed my dog?
Wait.
in-
You
Yeah,
run
back
the
it up.
motorcycle off the cliff,
of Mountain Hamilton.
which I've heard the story
Yeah.
before. So
Yeah.
I mean, this is not good. Like
Yeah.
you're messed up.
Yeah.
But you
Fortunate.
pull your cell phone out.
Oh yeah. And I called
Literally.
him first. Yeah. I was like, dude, you need to feed the dog. Cause I had a puppy at the time. So you need to feed the dog. I said, and then you need to take my clients tomorrow.
I mean,
But I can't like cancel on people like right
It's the
before.
life of a trainer,
well,
man.
back up. His first thing, he was in shock. I mean, his first thing, I'm laying on
Bro,
the
my
couch.
leg was backwards.
He goes,
I was messed.
hey man. I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like, what are you doing? Just chilling. And I'm like, I'm just laying on the couch. What's up? And he goes,
Watching the
do you
game,
think
having
you
a
can?
bud.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah. He goes, do you think you can take out the dog? I was like, you good, man? He goes, don't freak out, man. But I wrecked my motorcycle off a cliff and I snapped my leg in half. And I was like, okay, bro. Like, I'm not going to fucking feed the dog right now. I'm going to come check on you.
He did though. He fed the dog.
I
He
did
got me
feed the
some
dog.
clothes,
Yeah.
They
Got
cut
him
my
clothes.
favorite jeans.
So practical.
But yeah, I mean, I ended up doing that, and it was a lot. It was nerve wracking for me because like I've done personal training growing up, but not like officially. Like I always did stuff with friends.
Dude,
you know,
he killed it.
But you
He
cut
killed
time.
it.
You don't train that many clients and still work at City Sports.
Well, so I cut it. Yeah, so I told him
you're
immediately.
done.
2 week.
Yeah.
I said I had this situation happen with my brother. I got to take care of him. Blah blah blah. And then I gave him, a little 2 week thing because I could still go in here and there. And then, it was just straight.
Bro, he saved
grinding
the business 100%. And at that point, by the time we were done, because he was taking on new clients, I came back in, I took my clients. He had a schedule because he had already taken on more clients. Like bro, I could get emotional about this because he came in and he handled it like he saved it, period. I'm sitting at home. I can't do anything. I realized that I can't work if I'm not well. Right. Yeah. And that also is what brought into my mind, I need to create something more than this. And he came in, he handled it. He took care of the clients just like I did. I mean, he's the same, we're the same person almost. So all my clients were like, yeah, dude, it doesn't even matter. I can't even tell you're gone. Yeah. It was perfect. And
his clients,
actually, he may
his
not
clients liked me more. Actually.
Yeah, it's probably true, but he may not know, I know I tell you, bro, but what you did in that situation and the way you stepped up and the way that you came through the clutch like that, dude, I mean, we wouldn't be here without you there, period. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. I mean, you guys got a strong bond already, but how does that trust and that loyalty, but also just the knowing now that you can lean on one another for that kind of stuff. I mean, brothers, sisters, family is really kind of, if you'd be really fortunate if you have those kind of experiences and those kind of relationships in life. Yeah. And I think that's one of the other reasons that I'm really drawn to you guys is because there is a really strong bond there. And I mean, right on down to you guys are affectionate towards one another, which I love. Yeah. You guys don't hold back. I mean, it's out there. It's there's PDA, even on your social media or whatever. And I love it.
We'll see those laps.
You guys have fun with it or whatever. I think it's great. And I think it's, this word gets used too often and it's a little cliche now, but being authentic or just genuine about things. I think it trickles over. There's a reason why you're being successful in business and the things that you're doing. And again, I've already mentioned this and I truly believe this, the legacy that you guys are creating right now is impressive given, where it came from and what you guys are able to do in the current climate, particularly the current climate, but what you were doing prior to, maybe the things that we've all dealt with over the last couple of years, how you've been able to hold it together, but having those kind of relationships. And again, as brothers here, and I have a similar relationship with my partner, Cece, is that there's a bond there and you should be so fortunate as a business owner, brother, father, son, family or whatever, to be able to have that where you can really lean on somebody. There's no questions. It's just I know this is going to get done. You know what the intention is.
Right.
And then for God's sakes, you go home at the end of the day and you're living in the same house.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's crazy. I don't understand it still to this day. I mean, I do, but it's we lived together, we worked together, we went out together. There was not a second when I first met her for 3 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And we never got sick of each other.
Yeah, it's like being married, right?
Yeah, it was weird.
It's kind of like being married. Yeah. But at the same time, it isn't because it goes deeper than that. I think way deeper. Yeah. I mean, but so you guys have been busy, right? Yeah. There's been, it's all through the sort of the lockdowns that we live in a wild area here.
Oh yeah.
In terms of, kind of how things are handled.
Yeah.
But you've got an interesting business in that there's the personal training aspect where people come to see you guys, right? It would probably feel very typical. People come in, they work with you guys one-on-one. You guys do some small group stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And you got a very loyal following. Initially when I first met you guys, it was very word of mouth, and then you guys were out there on social media and you're kind of doing some stuff. Some things have changed.
Yeah.
In terms of how you guys market yourselves, which we'll get into. But the other part was that I saw it happening, which I was trying to take some lessons from you on, because I found it very difficult to do, was this whole corporate side of the corporate wellness programming that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And this is what's impressed me. We got a very small team here, right? We've got you guys and the team has grown, right? So there are other members of you. You got a nutritionist, you got Brianna over there who just rocks, right? Yeah. There's been some people that have done some body work for you. Mm-hmm. There's some yoga instructors there, and there's some other maybe a specialty coach or two in there, right?
Yeah, we got some meditation.
Yeah. So you guys are kind of covering the holistic approach to health and wellness, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, again, what Red Dot's always tried to do as well. But you've been able to break through the corporate ceiling, if you will. So just to kind of paint the picture in the Silicon Valley, like if you go to like some of these bigger companies, for those people that may or may not know, a lot of these places have on-site facilities. They're massive. They're gorgeous too, by the way. I mean, they're very well equipped, and they're managed by third parties. So there's these third party people that come in and essentially they're being contracted to kind of handle that end of the business, and they kind of do whatever they're going to do. And the employees sometimes are subsidized they subsidize their coaching or their training or their fitness classes or whatever else. So that's kind of like out of reach. I mean, these are major corporations. These are big operators that have soaked up that piece of the pie. Yeah. But there's a lot of startups and there's a lot of smaller companies that say less than 500 people, or maybe, let's say less than 5,000, maybe. I don't know. There's different tiers, I guess, that don't have those things. And then they'll subsidize their employees' workout programs or things like that. Or they're trying to do something on site, which Red Dot has done. We've done that with several companies where we've provided fitness classes or nutrition seminars or things like that in-house. But you guys have been able to break through to some big names. You don't have to share them if you don't want here.
Yeah, we won't.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. But there's some big names out there that you guys are inside right now, which impressed the hell out of me. And you were able to maintain that stuff through COVID when everybody was kind of working at home. You were able to immediately shift online. And not only did you do that, but you're able to continue to grow it. And even coming out the other side now, because you've been able to grow and you have this reputation and people are returning to work and people are like, I need to get off my ass and start doing something, or companies are going, we need to start doing something for our company's employees now. You guys are even able to break into that. I wondered if you could just maybe talk through how you did it, just in general, right? Yeah. Because I think there's some very basic obstacles that I've even had a really hard time breaking through. I'm just curious as to what obstacles you found there were and how you broke through them.
Well, I think the biggest thing, first of all, before I start talking about me, the Red Dot Fitness in the community that you built, period, I've always looked up to you guys so much. You guys kill it. I think that you hold a standard that like I want my business to feel that way, the way that what you've created. We even early on brought our team over with your team because I respect you guys. Like we mention you guys on our blog, all that stuff, because we really respect what you do. You're educated, you're hardworking, you're quality. There's so many businesses and especially in the fitness industry that because they're in the fitness industry, they're not professional in a way, right? Like it's like, oh, well, I'm just a trainer or I'm just a gym. Like we don't need to have all these processes and these things. But like what I love about what y'all do is that you're professional. You have processes. You have, you're all about the experience for the client, and you've created a brand that blows my mind and that everyone knows what you're about the moment they step in your door. And it's something that I want for my business. So I want to start out by like giving you
praise,
the kudos because you created a feeling, not a brand.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And then now I'll get into what we're doing, but always looked up to you guys, always. So we, in a way, and I say, I never like to say you get lucky, but if you're constantly putting yourself in a position, you're not sitting on the couch doing nothing, right? If you're connecting, constantly putting out different things, trying different things, connecting with different people, eventually you're going to get that break, right? The guy that gets lucky doesn't get lucky by sitting on his ass, right? So I think that's what happened with us. I was in the bed with my leg broken, thinking about how we got to do this. I put this idea of a corporate wellness program on a Google Doc. Luckily, one of the companies we first started out with that ended up changing our whole deal during COVID was our first contract that I pitched before we even had a program. They bought it and I put it together in a weekend, which is a fun story. That's awesome. It was a whole other story.
It was cool.
And then from there, once we started that, I just kind of started reaching out to our clients. Hey, where do you work? And they're like, oh, I work here. I'm like, hey, could you give us an introduction? So like slowly we started we took on another contract within the next month. We got very lucky. It was a big company. within the next 6 months, we took on another contract with another company that was a startup that ended up getting acquired within the year and then put us in with another big company. So it's all just kind of like we got lucky to have like 3 really big names at the beginning. We could promote those names. We did a good job. And that's the thing is like when we're working with these bigger companies where we're trying to take that small business feel of like what my dad taught me in his small business to what we do in our small business. And we're trying to bring that to like a larger scale, right? We want to make people feel like heard, seen. We want to build that connection, those relationships within this like bigger deal, right? And so as we go, you know, your referrals, just like in personal training, whatever it is, that's your biggest business. Always. Like you can do all the marketing in the world, all you want, but like the best marketing is like you doing a good job and that person saying, dude, listen to my experience, right? How people experience you is like the biggest piece to grow in your business. So if someone experiences you, just like what I was saying about your business, the experience that they get, they're going to talk about you, right? So that I believe is what has helped us grow as we go, because these employees are like, wow, we really enjoyed what we're doing here with Paragon Body. And they go like people, they stay at jobs for a year. They stay at jobs for 2 years and then they move on. And they're like, well, we had this wellness program. Boom. They introduce us to their next company they go to. And that's why like we're a baby. We started out, 3 years ago. And the only way like we didn't become a corporate wellness business until really this year. Yeah. Because you got to build your reputation. You got to do the hard work. You got to get it done. You got to do a good job. And then people just start saying, hey, we really like this. We want it here. And so, yeah, we've got people working in the background, like doing sales. We got people working in the background on like, I'm always asking, and trying to get introductions, but all of our stuff has come from people saying, hey, we liked this. We'd like to bring it here. Yeah.
Got a lot of stuff from clients too that work for different companies. The clients will be like, hey, like, we've seen your stuff, and then show their company and their HR is okay with it. And then
you can send a million emails, bro. Yeah. Like you can send a million emails to as many HR people as you want. And they're just going to be like, okay, another external email.
So there you have it. So I think there's a couple of things that are worth, unpacking there. One, you talked about basically the reaching out and the constantly reaching out. And you just brought it up specifically with who do you reach out to? Because, if you're a small business owner, you're trying to break into the corporate business somewhere, particularly in the health and wellness stuff, like who do you need to talk to? Do you need to talk to the head of HR? Because usually they're going to have something to do with this, right? Mm-hmm. So there's an HR person, HR is involved there somewhere, or do they have like a wellness coordinator or an employee relations coordinator that really doesn't have any power or make any decisions? Or maybe they do. They're a committee member somewhere that's part of this, that can be the voice to then get into HR? Or is it the VP that actually writes the check, who's really into fitness, that knows everybody there needs that stuff, and he or she really wants it too? So they kind of pull the strings. There's this, how do you navigate this? Because I've been down this road before too. And you talking to any number of people at any type, at any number of levels within the company. So I think there's a couple things that go into that. One, you got to be able to talk the game. Yeah. And you have to be able to talk. It's not going back to the lower qualified individual, or we're just trainers. You have to be savvy. You got to know how to have those conversations no matter what situation you get into, because that could be the last conversation you're going to get, right? Yeah. You get 30 seconds to kind of give the pitch, or maybe you're asked to give a more detailed, like full-blown presentation with charts and graphs or whatever, because at the end of the day, a lot of times what they want is like, well, what's the return on investment here? Right. Like, and the reality of it is there is no monetary return on investment on any of this stuff. Yeah. It's about quality of workplace, right? It's about people coming together and about feeling better about getting something accomplished, whether it's as an individual or as a team or whatever. So that's one of the things I found was really challenging, is who do you talk to? And I never had a problem with the beyond that. Like, you put me in the room, we're good. Right. Yeah. Like, if you can get me in front of somebody, like we close that deal. Right. Yeah. Like we close that deal, but it's getting in front of somebody. So as a coach out there or a business owner that's trying to get into this somehow, you got to get your shit together, and there's got to be some level of literacy. And when I say that, you got to be able to have an intelligent conversation about what this means, for, in exactly what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, what the intention is while building a quality relationship.
Absolutely.
So I found that. And then the second part is you mentioned it like, okay, so now we've got the contract. How the hell are we going to deliver this product? So there's the scaling of it, right?
Yeah.
And being in your small company. So, and now I have all these clients, right? All of a sudden I've got, let's say, a group of 50 new clients that are their employees for this company. And you've got to deliver this program to. Well, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of energy. Do you have the bandwidth, Callaway, to deliver that? Or do you have the bandwidth? Because you got to be out there chasing business, Jordan, right? Like you can be on the backside. So bringing somebody on that you can trust now with this corporate contract, which could make or break you with the next corporate contract.
Yeah.
Those are all really challenging things to kind of get past.
Oh yeah.
And I know you guys have had your challenges, but at the same time, there's been more successes than there have been challenges from the outside looking in. You guys are doing an outstanding job. And I think this is, take this opportunity to say, I think you guys have something going there that you could provide a service to the industry at large, right, on how to do this right. And part of my saying that is obviously you guys are my boys and I love you, but I've also been in the room in a bidding situation with the big dogs on the block. Now, remember, I worked for one of those for a long time, and I was one of those people that made decisions or would go in and have these conversations after contracts were won.
Yeah.
But I've sat at tables with like the company, or excuse me, with the county level who's putting out this, this bid for somebody to handle their health and wellness program. And a lot of the stuff that's being delivered out there is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's not health and wellness. It's babysitting and taking people's money, the taxpayers' money, right, and not really providing a service that suits the needs and the wants of the community that are trying to service, which would be their employees. Yeah. And I'll say it straight up: Santa Clara County is doing their employees a disservice. So if you're, I feel bad for those people, and I saw firsthand what was being delivered, and I've seen firsthand what's being delivered. We went through the whole rigmarole with them, and they just basically gave it back to the same people that were doing a bad job before.
Yeah, no, they're just kind of like, hey, it's already in place. We need something to fill this requirement. It's here. Let's not worry about it.
They're not looking for...
It's the last priority. It really is.
So, I mean, that's part of the shit that I'll talk on Santa Clara County. I'm not really happy with them for a lot of reasons. But again, you guys have figured out a formula to not only be able to do it, but do it well, right? And get people to so well that you're being referred to other companies, smaller companies that are making their investment in you. And I think there's something to be said for that. So you should think, I think that's a thing you guys make. Maybe that's the next project, man. You sell that plan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll see. Right now, we're just so focused on like what's in front of us. I think it's one of those things where we're kind of like, it's constantly at this moment back against the wall. Cause it's like, we don't hire until we need, Right. And so when something happens, it happens, we deal with it. We make it work. And that's kind of how we've been growing. It's a little bit, it's kind of an anxious feeling actually, because you're just like constantly thinking about, okay, well, I need to get all these things in place just in case. You're having all these people in your back pocket, you're interviewing, you're like trying to make sure that everything's in place for when it does happen. Right. Because these contracts there, it's not like they just come on a silver platter.
They're
like,
scary. It's
it's hard work. It's like, it's hard to get it.
Well, I've watched him, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I've watched him literally sit on one
for 3 days. Yeah.
No, for
a year.
Oh,
keep track.
Bro, we just
I was just going to tell me he's up for 3 nights.
Oh,
like
no.
Trying to,
well, that too, I'm sure.
Write a proposal.
No, but I'm telling you, he'll sit there. I mean, when we lived together, it was work doesn't shut off, and it's like 2 a.m. and he's just doing his thing. And I mean, he's the most consistent person I've ever seen when it comes to reaching out and like being on top. Because a lot of people like they'll do stuff and like they'll drive. And they're like, fuck it, like that's it, man. Like I've been doing this for 6 months.
Throwing in the towel.
He knows. I mean, he's good at it. Like he's good at being very consistent and like reaching out and like I mean, he's basically for the most part like he's reached out and somebody like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so sorry, I forgot. And like he's brought
a year later.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, let's do it. And so,
bro, we just closed a contract like 2 weeks ago. It was a year and 3 months sales process.
Yeah.
Bro. Like, and like, it's like, it's those things that it's like, okay, well, yeah, maybe I could have given up on it, but like, why not? Like, because you can manage a bunch of different things at the same time, but sometimes it takes that long. And like, until you win, like because I know that once we win a contract, that we're keeping that contract. Because in the fitness industry, okay, people will stay with you once they hit their goals, right? Because they like you, they enjoy the time,
They trust you.
It's a healthy time. Right. It's good for them, but they're paying for it. So imagine getting people to their goals, having a good time, building community, building relationships, and they don't have to pay for it.
They don't have to pay for it.
And then imagine the company saying, hey, yo, we can't pay for this anymore. And then you just say, boo, 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 boom.
Talk to the employees.
Hey, yo, talk to the employees and you tell me if they say that's fine. And we've had it. We just had
them get saved.
We just had it happen.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, guys, we're about to get cut. I just want to let y'all know if you feel like sending an email to this person, let's talk to them and see if we can keep this going. Tell them it's important to you, and obviously I sent them usage reports. I sent them, everything that we've got going. Bro, we had so many, over 50 something reviews of what we did for them during 2020. Just how the classes were, what it's doing for them at home.
It was amazing.
And you don't realize how much you're really doing. We're teaching classes people. And we're, like I'm in there just like he is. I'm teaching, he's teaching, our meditation people, our yoga people. We're in there doing our job because we love people. But you don't really realize until you start reading these little
way you're
notes
impacting people,
and the way that people are like, and these people are busy people that are sitting down and taking the time to write these things. And the moment that you get those people behind you, you'll never lose. Hopefully, you'll never lose those contracts.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting story too, and that's what's being felt on the corporate sort of side of things. That they're being provided this service. Yes, they're not paying for it. And somebody up at the top, some bean counter is going, we got to cut this because it's too much. Yeah. It's too much of an investment. Whatever that investment is, right up until a few people start making some noise, right? And it's weird. Like we're in this climate right now, and I want to say just kind of society is kind of in this climate right now where somebody makes a decision. You got a few people don't like that decision, right? And they start making a lot of noise, and that shit goes viral. There's a tweet. Yeah. The next thing you know, it gets shared by a few more people and it starts to go crazy. And then the next thing you know, we're changing policy. We're firing people. Yeah. We're getting people out of political office, right? We're hemming people up right and left. Same thing works if you do a good job. Yeah. Right? If you're doing a good job, and we're not using that tool, but going back to corporate business, whatever, these people are unhappy about this particular situation. All they start doing is takes a few pissed off employees or whatever to go. You got to
keep your people happy.
And to make them happy. Again, my hat's off to you for what you guys have been able to accomplish, particularly as crazy it is here, because most companies here are not back to work. Most of the big ones. Yeah. When I say back to work, they're not back in the office. I mean, we have big empty buildings out there. So you're literally delivering this digitally, whereas before,
it was on site.
You guys were on site, which is a whole nother. Both of these things are very challenging things to do because I've done both of those. I know, but it's a challenging thing to do. Again, scaling up and whatever. But now you've kind of come out the other side, and I'm curious about this, just sort of on a bigger scale. What conversations are you hearing out there from some of these companies? Maybe not necessarily the ones that you're working directly with, because that's a different kind of conversation, but about the kind of the return to work plan as it relates to coming out of 2021 and into 2022 as people start to return, or will they be asked to return to the office? Because I've got some insight to that from some like senior level leadership and management that I have contact with, whether it's through Red Dot or otherwise, and well, my company's doing it this way and my company's doing it that way. So we're kind of seeing a mixed bag, but it basically looks like this. It's one of two ways. Either we're not going back to work, like we're not going back to the office indefinitely. There's no plan to go back for now. So we're given this autonomy to kind of work at home or be wherever to work at an Airbnb on the beach in Mexico, whatever we feel like, or they're running a hard line and they're saying, let's say by February 1st, you got to be back in an office somewhere. So if you've relocated, we have an office there, we can get you a position, or you can do your thing there.
If not, you're screwed.
Or you're fired.
Yeah. You
don't have a job.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Those are the two things I'm hearing. And some of those are big names. Like some of those companies and I won't disclose because that would be kind of throwing people under the bus here, but big companies, worldwide companies are going to be running a hard line in the next 2 to 3 months here going, you got to go back to work.
Yeah.
Where other big ones, and this is what I'm just going to throw out there, like Facebook has been public about, we're going to be out of the office indefinitely.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of one of those other big companies. What are you guys hearing?
Well, so far, and these are more so questions for me. Callaway kind of runs more. He manages all the personal training side, and I'm more on the corporate side. So I see, one of our main customers, they said they're not going to go back until they can be in the office without any PPE period. So that's one that I've heard, but we've also received emails and different things like that, talking about, requirements for vaccination, different things like that. So you're kind of looking at that. Other companies, I know people are like kind of going back on site, but we're still seeing that. And the reason that kind of in my mind that it tells me that this is going to be a lot longer for some of these companies going more so virtual, or, hey, you come in on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule in the office
2 days a week or something,
whatever it is. But the fact that we're taking on more customers and it's virtual shows that if someone's signing a 2-3 year contract with us, they're planning on staying
virtual.
where they're at.
Yeah.
So obviously I know one of the companies you're talking about, hey, if you're not back and we don't have a headquarters or a location where you're at,
you're cut.
See you later.
Yeah. Well, as an example, like Apple's one of those companies, right? Yeah. Apple's, allegedly going to be running a little bit of a harder line here.
Yeah.
And that's a huge one where we live, right?
Yeah.
So it impacts a lot of people and a lot of things.
Yeah.
Values of homes, right? The small businesses that support the communities around here, because it employs so many people and so many support stuff. I mean, there's a lot to that. So that's an example. There's a lot of other ones too.
Yeah. Well, other than that, we're hearing that, some companies, like one company that we're working with was like, asked us just the other day, are y'all willing to do like a Peloton style where you come on site, you teach the classes, and you still live stream it and send it to our people that are working at home, but also show people that we are on site when we do get there. So they want to use our services,
like kind of an illusion to warm people up. To this?
Like, hey, we've got fitness or yoga or meditation at 8 a.m. on site when we do
come back in.
That's the thing to come back to.
So
they're leveraging you guys.
That's a selling point. Yeah. So, those are some of the things that we've heard with some of our accounts. So
that's wild.
I mean, we'll see, man. We're flying by the seat of our pants. Obviously, the business scales virtually a lot easier because we can be many places within a minute, rather than what we were doing, traveling from one company to the other in the area.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see things stay hybridly virtual.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're hearing on our side.
Well, my hat's off to you guys, for what you've been able to do sort of on the business end of things. I mean, I've watched it grow, I've watched it keep together, watch you guys thrive and
learning as we go. Man.
Yeah.
I know there's been some scary points. I mean, certainly getting a phone call from your brother Calloway saying he's sitting at the bottom of the mountain up there with the leg busted in half, and I need you to handle my stuff. Scary, but let's kind of shift gears a little bit here and look at some of the things that have maybe been clear and are being clear moving out of I think it's timely. We're coming in, we're like in the first week of December here. I mean, to think that 2022 is going to be over here.
It's crazy.
It's wild how fast
this year.
Halloween, Thanksgiving, December now.
It's like October.
It's weird. It's mind blowing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious. So I know there's a couple things I think that Jordan's been working on. I'll get to that here in a second. I think one of the things he's been working on doing, what he's intent on doing, is he's intent on pissing me off on a regular basis with his early AM Instagram stories, where he continually
messes up the saying.
Just I mean, it's gross, man.
Yeah.
Messing up.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can recall the one from this morning, it was something about when you get over to the other side of the fence, you can sharpen crayons in the tool shed. Or something, some shit like that. I'm like, no, man, that couldn't be any more wrong. And
If the kitchen's too hot, call the early bird.
I really need you to stop putting that shit up there. But no, in all seriousness, just kind of looking at this year and coming out of this, Callaway, what's give me, what is the thing that you've sort of been working on, from a personal or even professional perspective this year for yourself, in terms of, we can call it self-improvement or just kind of the self-work that you've been doing, anything that you've learned that you might be able to share, share with me.
Yeah. Well, I guess from like, professionally, from like that aspect, I've been working on more, I guess, with the business, trying to take over a lot that would, get some stress off of his plate.
More responsibility.
Well, yeah. And just like do stuff that, that I can take care of, that he doesn't need to be doing, that he can focus more on, and just kind of like, I don't know, focus more on that and like get things more a little together when it comes to that, and
got some big plans for 2022 for him. And
I mean, a lot of it's mostly just work driven, because that's all we've been doing.
That's all we do.
So I appreciate that, because I'm much the same, and I think you talk to most entrepreneurs, and that's what they're going to tell you, and it's just who we are, right? Yeah. It's in the DNA at this point, and it's hard coded, and it's tough to switch that off.
Yeah.
So like, here's a question before we kind of get into the Jordan side of that, because I kind of think I know what I I'm going to hear there, because he's maybe shared some of the stuff before, but dude, like, I don't know, but for a long time there, you guys seem like some of the most eligible bachelors here in San Jose, right? Oh, and I don't know what that situation looks like right now, but like, is there time for relationships and other things in life, or is it really, you just head down and work?
Honestly, so that's a good question. I mean, I think before I started getting head over heels with work and just busy,
he just said he's in love with work.
I'm in love with work, man. Yeah, my relationship is work, man. No, but it's a good question. It's always out there. I think that if it's the right time and it just works, I mean, I don't look for it at all, especially right now.
The boy finds time, I'll tell you.
I mean,
you found time to be social.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm not asking if you got a girlfriend or who's on that thing, but I'm just saying, like, look, man, I guess I'm trying to paint the realistic picture here. It's like, you guys have one another. So you guys have this tight relationship that you can kind of share with one another, right? Mm-hmm. As brothers, it's business kind of all the time, but it's also, you guys take time, to have some fun. I mean, you guys are here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're talking about work.
Yeah. Can't ever escape it.
Stuff. So, where do you find time away from that? If you do, I mean, is that a reality, or is it not a reality?
It is. I mean, I think we try on the weekends to do something. I mean, we picked up golf. I mean, I've been golfing for a while, but he jumped on with a little bit, and we try to disconnect, and we have the time here and there. But it's tough. I mean, I think that for the most part, if we're not in person working, we're on the computer.
We're young, man.
Yeah.
Like we're young. We're at this point where it's like, you got to work hard right now.
Yeah. And that's my focus. I mean, that's my focus right now is not on getting into something serious in a relationship. And if that comes, it comes, and I'm happy for it. Like, I'm open to it, but I want to be like 100% right here at the age I'm at now, so I can be ahead of the curve 4 or 5 years down the road, and then, I don't know, see where we're at there. But yeah, I mean, we do find time. There's time, but it's not a lot.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
You guys got to pencil in your literally calendar.
Oh yeah, he's Google.
Dude, I'm a Google Calendar freak.
Oh man, the dude will invite me to dinner, and it'll be a Google Calendar invite. Hey man, you want to go to Duodeca at 7 p.m. Friday night?
I have experience with Jordan.
Yeah, Google Calendar. Yeah. I've never seen it. I've never seen anything like it.
I can appreciate that.
It's the only way I remember things.
It's smart. It's smart.
I make everybody put shit on the Google Calendar for me.
That's why he shows up to things and I never do.
Google Calendar and fucking iPhone reminders.
That said, I think, by the way, I think because this was on a Google invite, and I think,
I appreciated it.
You did that.
I think Cal accepted my Google invite from like a month ago, 15 minutes before he showed up tonight.
Yeah, 100%.
I saw it. I was like,
another Google. Yes. Oh, this one's not from Jordan. Maybe I should.
I'll say yeah.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
but we're laughing about it, but that's what this ends up being, right?
Yeah.
I mean, life's on a Google Calendar.
Yeah.
You know, it's on a Google invite.
Yeah.
And then when you do have time, that's why I appreciate you guys for, you know, like I said, making time to.
Bro, we were pumped.
Oh yeah,
We
I
were
was
so
so
excited to come here.
Well, we don't get to see you as often as we'd like either, man. So it's
Same.
like it's always good to have some kind of time to get away and
like this
hang out.
This is on camera and this is like a podcast, but it's still like we're having a good conversation.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? Like, so it's
almost
nice.
like we're at your dinner table again.
Yeah.
Like the other.
Yeah, and that needs to happen more. And so
It does.
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest. I mean, a lot of this whole thing is for that
Connecting,
reason.
man.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to put people together and if I got to do it this way, then I got to do it this way. And it's not like you guys need to have your arms twisted. It literally is about. I mean, I called you up however long ago it was to say, hey, would you be open to this? And what do the dates look like? And I think we worked through dates. It was a back and forth to try to figure it out. So I'll take it however I can get it.
Yeah.
You know, just in terms of like self-improvement and, you know, whatever that is, what I'm taking into 2022, that's part of this as well, is making a sort of recommitting to doing some things that are important for me, that are a little bit more enriching and nourishing in my life, and taking time to spend time with the people that, you know, I know that I value, and I know, and you guys have shared that with me, and I really appreciate it, the value my time as well.
Yeah.
And I think with all the things that are going on and all the distractions that are happening, you know, if I was going to share, I think that's what it would be, is really kind of sitting back and reflecting on who those important people are in your life and the things that matter. Right.
Mhm.
And making sure that you spend time and you give time. Or maybe it's making time, but then also allowing the space to just kind of talk through stuff where there isn't an agenda. Cause there have been conversations where I've sat down, you know, Jordan and I maybe have sat down, we've talked about, you know, very specific work things that was on the agenda, but just making space to talk about stuff outside of the norm. And look, the business conversation is going to come up every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just said it.
Yeah.
Because your head's down, you know, kind of all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. It's fine with me. If you're not in my circle, you won't get it.
Yeah.
You just don't understand it. You're going to get bored probably pretty fast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you know what? I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
I have to be honest. I'm not going to be making that time for you because I can't connect, you know, at that kind of way. And I'm not sorry for that. I'm not going to apologize for it at the same time. But I mean, those are some of the things, just being a little bit more aware, being a little bit more connected to the things that are going on around me, and knowing the things I need to do, acknowledging and honoring the things I need to do to make those things happen for me. And this is part of it.
That's great, man.
Yeah. One of the other things is just getting out into nature more and trying to get away, you know, to a certain extent, so that I can reconnect, and being alone in that process sometimes is really important for me. I talked a little bit about that with a buddy the other day on a podcast, but anyhow, I just kind of switching over to you, Jordan. I mean, what's been the focus for you in terms of just being better?
Well, I mean, so I've always got professional goals, right? You know, I've got this idea of where we want to be in the business, and you know, you're always looking into the future when it comes to your professional life. But for me this year, with things getting busier and realizing that like my stress levels, you know, you realize when you're your busiest. 3 years ago, I was my busiest and I couldn't take any more. 2 years ago, you're your busiest and you can't take any more. 1 year ago, you know, it's you're finding new thresholds, right? And so, you know, and I don't know if it was 2020 or what it was, but I think a lot of people are dealing with this. Is like, you know, obviously stress is always there, but anxiety has really made a presence in my life, you know, within the past year. And so for me, I've really been trying to focus on, you know, being happy in the moment. So like my goals for next year is, you know, I've added a lot of meditation into my life. You know, I started talking with a guy I did it before I came here. Every Tuesday, we kind of talk about what's going on in my life, what we're doing. We do a meditation. And I'm trying to really set my mindset to just gratefulness for this next year. And I read a book recently. It's called Happy Sexy Millionaire.
Okay.
And it's not about a happy, sexy millionaire at all. It's about how he found all of the success. His goals were to have a Range Rover, a hot girlfriend, and $1 million.
Things.
He reached that all by like 24 years old and realized that he was unfulfilled and unhappy. And so this idea of like constantly chasing happiness is like this like life is this finite game. It's not. It's an infinite game. It's we have to learn to start to be happy in this moment, right? We have to learn to be content with what we have. We have to learn to be grateful for the things that we have. And so I've been really trying to like add that into my life, and then in those moments, like, okay, yeah, Monday through Friday, I'm busting my butt, but Saturday, I have this idea that I want to be happy on Saturday. I want to, and I'm happy doing my job. Don't get me wrong. I love what I do, but it gets you stressed out and you can't live your job. And that's in this fitness industry. There's like this weird connection between I'm doing what I'm passionate about, but it's also my job and it's also my life. Right. And it's like,
it's not too many other things like that.
Yeah, it's weird, man. And so there's that. But like, I love the ocean, and I want to go to the beach on Saturday because it's right down the street, and I can sit there and I can have a coffee and I can look at the ocean and I realize how small I am, right? And like, but do I do that? No. I wake up on Saturday, I'm like, dude, I'm freaking tired.
Pull out the laptop.
I don't want to freaking go all the way over the hill. It's going to be a full day event. Like, so I really want to focus on things that make me happy. And if you can sit down and you write 3 things, 4 things of like, what truly makes you happy. If you could paint out a picture of like, what's your perfect day, right? For me, it would be like the beach with my family and maybe have some good food, like a good steak.
Simple,
Simple, right? And if I can start to like, I want to start to try to live those things, throughout this next year a little bit more. And even when I'm tired, kind of force myself out of that to do those things. And I won't mention much about it, but just got into a relationship, which is crazy.
Why is that crazy, man?
Well, you know me, I'm just not a relationship guy, but I met
How does she feel about that?
Oh, no. I am now. She changed it up, but she's a good woman, and
you got the wedding invite, didn't you?
Yeah, you got it right.
Oh shit.
But no, so like new things are happening, different things are happening, and
that's exciting for you, man.
Yeah, I'm a pretty happy dude in general, but it's kind of like lifted me up even more, added to, and so I think a lot of good things for 2022 altogether. Just kind of trying to focus a little bit more on the personal side rather than obviously the business side is always there, but trying to find a little bit more on the other side.
Yeah, gratitude. Give expressing gratitude and,
totally.
and finding gratitude in what you do have. I think those are lessons that a lot of people could probably be learning right now, or at least attempting to learn.
Downward comparisons.
Yeah, stop comparisons. An evil bitch, she'll wreck you. You know, like you just got to leave that alone. And I think part of it is people don't have the bandwidth right now to really kind of get to that point, to go through that exercise and that practice, because it seems like maybe once they go down that path, something kind of gets in the way of it and it distracts them or whatever. And so interesting. You use the same tools or the same skills that makes you successful in business. You write down your plan, right? You write down your things, you schedule it into your calendar, hey, fuck, if that's what it takes, then that's what you do.
Yeah.
And it's okay also that I just realized this, and you said it without saying it, that you actually kicked Callaway out. He didn't actually move out because you moved the girlfriend in.
I've been a lost cause ever since.
Oh, relax.
I've been it went from FaceTime calls at my house.
Hey, call me, bro.
Dude,
like, I'll come over and have a beer.
Yeah. We'll kick it, man.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Oh man. Hey. Again, man, it was great having you guys down. I always appreciate the time. I appreciate what you guys doing locally. I'm always here to support you guys and whatever you guys are doing. And as we get into this next year and we're all doing our own things, bringing that community back together, because it did get a little bit disconnected there for a while, where we're all running crazy, going different directions. I would like nothing more than to be a catalyst for that. So if there's anything I can do to help you and your people and what you're doing, you're your business partners, right? Your employees, your clients, whoever that's out there. I'm here for you, bro. We're here to help you guys. However,
Yeah,
however
no, we appreciate
Thank
y'all
you,
a lot.
and vice versa, man. If there's any value we can add to you, I mean, you're like
you're here. You're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like you're like the, you know, we all met up randomly at Blush. That was like our first meetup because I wanted to connect with you.
Yeah.
So we've always looked up to you. You and CC, you guys are running something awesome, and we're grateful to have you in our life.
Absolutely.
Gratitude.
100%.
Gratitude, boys.
100%.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah,
We'll have to do this
absolutely.
again soon.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you guys.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.